Hi, how you doing? And welcome back to another video on the channel. So it's the preview video going into Game Week 7. We're going to take a little look at how the mini league is getting on and how people are doing with that. Then I'll talk about how my own team did in Game Week 6, as well as the best captaincy options and team selection and transfer thoughts for Game Week 7. This video's a little bit less data driven. There's no charts. I quite like to do a video every week where it's just discussion based and gut feeling. But if you do want to see a bit more data, go check out the wildcard video from Sunday for Game Week 7. And please do subscribe to the channel. The support has been amazing. I actually got 30 new subscribers on Sunday alone, which was such a cool experience to have for a small channel. So anyone who can support the channel even further, I would really appreciate it. Let's take a look at the mini league. And manager of the week goes to Gurji. 88 points, which is a fantastic return. And to be honest, I think anyone who scored really well this week probably triple captained Haaland. 48 points. It's a great decision to do that. It did seem like a bit of a week where there was just these small moments making a massive difference. Until the 91st minute, Alan just had an assist. And then within 3 minutes, he's got two more goals. He's going to get his three bonus points. And it's just such a huge swing. So I've been there before, not owning Haaland. So unfortunate if you don't own him, but you can still turn it around. But really, more than half of his points came from Haaland. Senesi and Gabriel in defence really backed it up with 20 points between them. And Semenyo got another return as well. So a fantastic score. I think it shot him up about a million places, which is brilliant. To be 220k overall rank is fantastic. Hopefully, can keep it going. So the overall leader goes to Laurie, and 75 points without triple captaining Haaland is also amazing. Roofs in goal got 10 points, some great returns from defenders and some midfielders as well. Anthony helping out with points, still captained Haaland, which again you probably needed to do this game week in order to get a really good score, and even had some points on the bench in Rodon and Livramento. And we'll talk about bench points when we get into my team, but overall, the mini league is really tight at the top. There's 1 point separating the top three, and there's quite a few people close in behind as well. So shout out to Laurie for being the overall leader. Be interesting to see if you can keep it going with the league being so tight. So on to my team, and in goal, I did start Raya. I wasn't going to start Dubravka with Man City away, and he conceded five. And I did wildcard going into this, so getting Raya in with Newcastle away, we did discuss, was a really tough entry point, and I wasn't expecting a clean sheet. Would I have liked a clean sheet? Absolutely, because I needed a couple more points this week. And in defence, it was a bit of the wrong way round. So I did bench Gabriel, which doesn't look good on paper. And again, a bit like what we said with Haaland scoring late goals, Gabriel could quite easily have been sent off for elbowing Voltemada in the first half and wasn't. And if that had happened, he'd have probably ended up on minus points, and it'd have looked great to have benched him. As it stands, he was on 2 points, I think maybe 4 points for defensive returns late in the game. Got the goal, got the three bonus points, and ended up on 13. Whereas Calafiori, who I did think had a bit more attacking threat for this game, um, got booked and subbed. So 1 point for him, 1 point for Tarkowski, and then Senesi again feel like it was a good decision to bench him away at Leeds because Leeds scored two. So he wasn't getting a clean sheet. And then he got that assist late on for 7 points. So it really did swing from the 90th to the 95th minute in some of these games for me. So not a great return in terms of defence, and sort of the same in midfield, really. So Menyo got a return, which is great. Kudus did have a goal disallowed, but he was really offside. And Bumo, if Bruno Fernandes had scored that penalty and Bumo would have got an assist, but then Bruno Fernandes owners would have got some. So I'm not too sure how that would have affected my ranks. And then Reinders didn't get involved in any of the Burnley goals either. So that was a shame that there was no returns there. Up front, I did captain Haaland, 32 points, and it just goes to show how important getting a captaincy is and how you need to get that correct. Because if I had a captain somebody else this week, I'd have been really struggling. As it stands, I only went down about 100k, which isn't bad at all, really, when you look at where the points were coming from the team. Couple different decisions, If I'd have started Gabriel and Senesi instead, I would have ended up on 73 points, I think, would have got 18 more points. But that's just how it happens. And I've seen teams where there's been 40 points on the bench this week because they've had Aldrati from Sunderland, who got a goal, clean sheet, 3 bonus points, and Gabriel on the bench. So it could always be worse. And you never think of those players who you don't even own who scored really well. You never kick yourself for thinking, oh, I should have got Aldrati in from Sunderland because he got 17 points. It's always the ones who are so close to coming into your starting lineup from your bench. So there's a ton of players I don't own that scored really well that I'm not going to lose sleep on. So I'm not going to try and lose sleep on Gabriel and Senesi being on my bench. And naturally, just a shout out to Danny Welbeck. I had him for 5 weeks, decided to get 2 goals in the last few minutes. Again, he started on Brighton's bench, came on for 20 minutes and scored 2 goals. It happens, right? So it's still the right decision. And I still think my team selection was okay. It's just the last few minutes kind of cost me. So into captaincy for this game week, and the fixtures look pretty good. Reminder that it is a Friday deadline. Please don't miss out. It'd be about 6:30 deadline for your transfers. I would just double check your team Thursday night because it's always the case that if you're working on Friday and you kind of get a bit sidetracked, a bit busy, you look at the time and you've missed the deadline. So just set up your team how you think you want it just on Thursday anyway. And then if you get chance on Friday, it's a bit of a bonus, but you've covered yourself. So in terms of captaincy, I quite like Haaland. He's the highest point scorer this week for predicted points. I'm actually thinking of triple captaining Haaland this week, and it's not a reaction to Burnley and him scoring all those points and being a triple captain there. I'm not chasing those points. I would always have predicted Brentford away to be a better fixture for Haaland than Burnley home because I thought Burnley would have set up in a low block, wouldn't have left space in behind for Haaland. And it was only a couple of defending mistakes towards the end of the game that kind of gave Haaland those chances against Burnley. Whereas I think Brentford, they will be more inclined to come out and leave that space in behind, and then Haaland can get them on the break and more likely to score points throughout the game rather than the end of the game. So he is the best captaincy option. If you own him, you should totally captain him. Apart from that, if you don't own Haaland, I think Watkins is all right, but is he a captaincy option? He's just scored. Can see him scoring against Burnley. Think if you still own him and maybe you don't own anyone else, then possibly. I probably wouldn't captain Bruno Fernandes. I would just stay away from Man United captaincy at the moment. Think it's absolutely fine to own him. But Sunderland isn't the easiest fixture. Man United are all over the place really at the moment. So it has to be probably Salah away at Chelsea, I think, if you don't own Haaland. But I also don't mind Saka either. So it probably goes for me. Haaland is an absolute must if you own him to captain him, then Salah, then Saka. So into my team for this game week, and I'm sticking with Raya in goal. West Ham United at home is a good fixture for Arsenal. I'm hoping they can keep a clean sheet, mainly because I'm going to go triple up in the Arsenal defence, and that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to get in Arsenal's good fixtures. I am going to start all three. If someone like Calafiori is benched, then I'll just take the hit. But I'm even leaning towards a five at the back this game week. I just think attackers, you look at my midfield and my attack last week, so many 2 pointers. It's just not happening. And if I'd have gone five at the back, um, in game week 6, I would have scored a lot better. Now it's got to be careful because sometimes if you chase points, you bench the ones who are going to score well next. But I think a four at the back at least with these fixtures looks pretty good. Into midfield, and I benched Caicedo. I do think it's quite a good week for Caicedo. He's absolutely going to get defensive contributions against Liverpool at home. So there is a chance he comes in for Reinders, I would say, is the one who drops out. But again, Brentford away, I think is a really good fixture for Man City and how they play. The rest of the midfield, Kudus away at Leeds, I think he's got as good a chance of scoring points as anyone this week. And Mbumo and Semenyo both with home fixtures. I don't really see myself benching them. Someone like an Mbumo can get chances. He has been getting chances. He could have got an assist if Bruno Fernandes had scored that penalty on the weekend. And so I do think the returns are coming. Up front, I've gone with Haaland and Evan Nielsen. Haaland will have the captain's armband on. pretty much a triple captain this week, but I will give an update in Thursday's video. I've benched João Pedro. I just don't see Chelsea's attack doing all that much against Liverpool. There is a chance that he comes in and I bench Evan Nielsen for Fulham at home. But Fulham, just after conceding 3 goals to Aston Villa, have got a reputation for being solid defensively, but I'm not too sure that they will do that well against Bournemouth away. So that's the team as it stands. There is, of course, a chance that I swap out Evan Nielsen and Reinders, and I probably start Senesi and Caicedo, but this is what I'm thinking at the moment. So in terms of squad value and overall strengths, I've got really good team value at the moment, 101 million, zero point 0.3 in the bank. I'm not going to make any transfers. I'm just going to roll. I think after wildcarding, there's no need to. I'll go into the international break with 3 free transfers. Even if there's an injury this week, I don't think I'll make a transfer because my team uh, depth is so strong. Anyone can come in. It's probably the strongest squad I've ever had in FPL. So there's a lot of popular players in this team as well. People are thinking of transferring in Gabriel. People are still transferring in Haaland. I've had Semenyo since the start. So I do think I've got a really good team that's only going to go up in value. And the good thing about having popular players is that when they do well, you get the points. And when they don't do well, because they're so highly owned, you don't drop too much in rank. The weaknesses for me are benching headaches. I could always at risk of having a week like I've just had, where I bench players who score really well. But again, the outcome doesn't necessarily reflect the decision. Just because the outcome of the points didn't work out, on another day, like I said, Gabriel could have got sent off and he sat there on a -2 or a -1, and it's the right decision not to play him. And that's not just sort of making it up out the air like he did elbow Voltemada in the face. So that could have actually happened. And another weakness is maybe triple Arsenal defence, but I do genuinely believe in that some weeks, and I predict more often than not in about half their games, they probably will keep a clean sheet. And when that happens, I'll be getting in 18 points, maybe even 20, 22 points just from those 3 players alone. And I would much rather prefer them over the Arsenal attack. So that's the team. Let me know what you think. If you've got any transfer questions, like I said at the start, go check out my latest wildcard video for a 100% rated wildcard team. And yeah, thank you very much for listening. I will see you in the next one.